All right, what's good everyone? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the Fold 6 and if you should upgrade to it or if you should buy an older version of the Z Fold series, going back to the 3. Let's get into it. So with the Fold 6, you're going to be getting a faster phone. You're going to be getting better battery life and decent cameras. Overall, just the best foldable package from Samsung. It's going to be the best foldable phone from Samsung. You can't deny that. It is what it is. However, do you as a customer want to pay, that full price for the Z Fold 6, which is essentially very similar to the Z Fold 5 and pretty close to the Fold 4 and the Fold 3. I feel like it comes down to a couple of things. Number one is, can you afford it? If you can afford it, then why not in my eyes? Number two is, what do you value the most? And that can be broken down into a bunch of subcategories. Battery life, performance, durability, longevity. Battery life, the Z Fold 6 is going to have the best battery life. However, I don't think it's going to be that much better than the Fold 5 in terms of overall battery life. Samsung is advertising 1 hour more in terms of, video playback on the Fold 6. So that's not really a big difference. And it literally has the same battery size as the 4 and the 5. And they're only advertising 1 hour more than the 5. So battery life is going to be the best probably, but it's not going to be much better than the Fold 5. It could even be worse if software optimization is not there yet. In terms of performance, again, the Fold 6 is probably going to be the best because it has the newer chip. It has, 20% more GPU speeds, CPU speeds. It has a new NPU. It's going to be better on those levels. But we really need to see it in the real world. It's kind of hard to say like, oh yeah, it's going to be the best because on paper, a lot of times specs on paper don't translate to the real world. So we need to see it in action. However, it's probably going to be the best, but not by much from the Fold 5. And the Fold 4 can hold its own. The Fold 4 has a really good chip, the the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 Plus, the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1. It's a really good chip. It's pretty efficient, but it's not as efficient as the newer ones. It's not as powerful, but it's like right there. You can definitely live with that for a couple more years. So performance is up in the air, but it's literally going to be the Fold 6. And then the 5 is like maybe 0.5 less than where the Fold 6 is in terms of performance. In terms of durability, that's going to be the major thing for me in terms of like what makes the Fold 6 more worth it than the other versions, the other models, because the Fold 5, they finally figured it out, like to some extent. Like the Fold 5 doesn't have as many failures online, as many people complaining about like their screens just randomly breaking. It seems like the technology has matured a little bit more. Fold 5 is the first Fold from Samsung that has the, completely flat closed screen and the hinged redesign and stuff like that. So it seems like they figured out the durability to some extent with the Fold 5. So basically me saying that leads into like the Fold 6. I feel like that's what makes me want the Fold 6 even more. The fact that it might be the most durable foldable phone out there on the market because Samsung is really close to having something really solid in terms of durability and longevity. And now that it has the IP48 rating instead of the IPX8, I know it's not like crazy, like it's not even dust, but the extra durability, the new frame, the Fold 5 introduced a dispersion layer underneath the main display on the inside. So maybe they refined that with the Fold 6 and it's just more durable. So that's what I'm most looking forward to in terms of the Fold 6 and like considering upgrading to it. I'm going to upgrade. You already know what it is, but that's what I'm looking forward to, the extra durability and the longevity. And I'm saying longevity, that's the last category in this category. Longevity. If Samsung promises 7 years of, see, this is my theory. If Samsung says that the Fold 6 has 7 years of software support, 7 years of updates and security patches and stuff like that, like the S24 series, then that means that they believe in the hardware. They believe that this foldable phone series can last for 7 years. Now, if they don't say 7 years, just like the other phones, then my theory is that they don't believe in it. They don't actually believe in the durability and they think that, there's going to be random failures. There's going to be a lot of RMA, a lot of issues with the Fold 6, or like a good amount to the point where like they can't promise that it will last more than like 2 years. So look up for the software support number. If they say that it's going to be supported for the next 7 years, then that lets you know how much Samsung actually believes in the hardware of this phone and how long they think it can last. If they don't say that, I would put some question marks in the air and I would really think like Samsung is not matching it with their other devices. So that means that they don't believe in it lasting that long. Now with all that out the way, the third thing that I think determines whether you should buy this phone or not is where you're coming from. So if you're somebody who has a Fold 2, for example, a Fold 1, the first Z Fold ever, or the first Galaxy Fold, it wasn't a Z yet. If you have one of those phones, 100% you should upgrade to the 6, in my opinion, because the 6 is going to be the best of the best. It's going to be the most refined. If you're coming from the Fold 2 and the Galaxy Fold, the original, then definitely get the 6. That's how I feel. If you're coming from the Fold 3 and your phone is working fine, you have no issues, your hinge still opens up nicely, screen is good, screen protector is good, you have literally no issues, then I would say you don't have to wait till the 7, the Fold 7. You don't have to wait all the way till next year. That's not what I'm saying. I would say you could wait 6 months. Because these foldable phones, they're super expensive at launch, when you buy it brand new. And like every phone, the value will drop. But for the folding phones, the value drops significantly every single year. If you have a Fold 3 that is perfectly fine, you could wait to the 7 if you can make it that far. But I would say wait at least 6 months, because then the Fold 6 will be a lot cheaper. And by domino effect, because the Fold 6 is a lot cheaper, the 5, the 4 will be way cheaper. And the 4 is already ridiculously cheap right now. And it's a good phone. It just has random issues that could potentially happen more commonly than the newer models. The Fold 5, if you can get the Fold 5 for around like $500, $5 yo, go for that. That's a really good phone. That will last you the next hopefully it lasts you the next 3 years. Fold 5 is a good phone to look for. If you're not trying to get the newest of the newest and you have a Fold 3, definitely keep your eye on the Fold 5. Set your price range that you want it to be at, and I would say wait 6 months. It will definitely come down. All of them will come down for sure. And now, if you are somebody who has a Fold 4, I would say the Fold 6 is definitely a worthy upgrade in terms of battery life, durability, software support, just a good refresh. I would say it's definitely worth it, but it's not necessarily necessary. If your Fold 4 is alright, you haven't had any issues with it, then you don't need to upgrade, to be honest. I would honestly say if you can, ideally, if you can get to the 6, if you can buy that comfortably, or you can trade for that comfortably, just go for the 6. Longevity, the 6 is probably going to be the best, but obviously you can wait till the reviewers get theirs, till people get theirs, and see if there's any random issues like the screen. It's never a harm to wait to see how things actually pan out in the real world, because what they say on paper and what reviewers say on YouTube could be completely different from what you actually experience when you get the phone in your hand. So I would say if you have the 4 and you can upgrade, then definitely aim for the 6, but you could wait a little bit to see how it pans out a little bit, or you can even go for the 5. I think the 5 is also a worthy upgrade from the 4, because in my experience, the 4, the battery life wasn't bad, but the 5 is probably the most comfortable battery life I would accept for a foldable phone, and just a phone in general. The 5 can last me definitely easily over 5 hours for sure, but it can last me 6 to 7 hours depending on how I'm using my phone for that day. So I would definitely consider the 5 if I have the 4, but ultimately you want to get to the 6 in my opinion. However, like I said, it's not necessary. If you have no issues with your Fold 4, then you can wait till next year or even 6 months down the line. Now, if you have the 5, this is where it gets kind of tricky, because it depends on how you got your 5. If you bought your 5 full price, then it also depends on how much disposable income you have, trade-ins in your area of the world. But if you bought your 5 for full price, then maybe it's not worth it. And you have no issues, maybe it's not worth it. Don't upgrade to the 6. However, if you, let's say, traded for your 5, or you bought your 5 really cheap, because they're really cheap now. The price, like I said, the value tanks a lot. If you bought your 5 for a cheap price, let's say under $1,000, under $800 even, Canadian, US, whatever, then definitely trade it in and get the 6. Why not? If you got it for a cheap price anyways, because there's going to be trading deals, there's going to be boosted trade-in value. So you're going to get extra money off up to $1,300 or something like that. And it's just, this obviously depends on where you live. Some places in the world, they don't have trading deals and they don't have these different things. So context matters a lot. But if I got a Fold 5 for a cheaper price, then I'm definitely going to trade that in. And then the other scenario is if you have a Fold 5, but then let's say you dropped it and it cracked or something like that, it's really damaged and you actually need to get it repaired to keep using it, then I would say don't get it repaired, just upgrade. Because if you don't have Samsung Care Plus and you're paying that full price, it's not worth it in my opinion. If you're gonna fix your Fold 5, you might as well just upgrade to the Fold 6, because that $1,000 is the same $1,000 that you can get off towards the next phone, potentially. Because even though, let's say you trade in a broken Fold 5 that has damage, the base value might not be a lot, but then usually they have promotions where it's $400 on top of that or something like that. So you can potentially get around $600, $700 off, or you can consider selling your Fold 5 to put towards the Fold 6. So I would personally just try to upgrade if I have a broken Fold 5 rather than trying to fix it. So yeah, my final, thing for whether you should upgrade or not is where you're coming from, what phone you have right now, and how much are you willing to invest into this, or are you willing to trade in and pay like the difference, whatever. Yeah, it really comes down to all that stuff. Some advice for people who maybe, you know, don't know about this stuff or trading in and things like that. I would advise you to maybe go and find a cheap Fold 4, cheap Fold 3, maybe even a Fold 2. Find a cheap Samsung phone that is like of decent value, or like used to be of decent value, like let's say a flagship phone. Buy that for a really cheap price, trade it in for significantly more. So let's say I'm buying a Fold 4 for like $300. I could probably trade it into Samsung for like 800 to 1,000, depending on what kinds of deals you'll have for trading. So go buy a cheap older Fold phone, trade it in for the Fold 6, and then you save money on that. That's what I advise everyone to do still. But you already know, that is the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below if you're going to be upgrading or not. I know a lot of people said they're leaving Samsung because it's a very similar phone as the other ones. But yeah, let me know what you think. We out. Peace.